Hello, everybody, and welcome to our daily check-in. It is a beautiful day outside. Um, I've spent most of the week talking about books that have had an impact on my life, but have given certain messages that I wanted to be able to share with all of you. So I thought how I would end this week is I have this particular book. It says, "Add a little magic, words of inspiration." So these are quotes from various Disney movies, and I'm not saying they invented these lines, but I thought I would read some of them and kind of talk a little bit about them and give you some final words of wisdom for the week. And I wanted to share a handful of them because I thought some of these were quite powerful. So one of the first ones that I want to go over, this is, if you've ever seen Hercules, that is definitely one of my favorite Disney movies. Phil, he's the one who helps train Hercules, a trainer of heroes. And he writes, giving up is for rookies. And I think that is an important thing to kind of remember because, sometimes life can be really hard and you just want to give up. You don't want to do your work. You don't want to, sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed. You're just like wiped out. You don't want to do it, but you have to keep moving forward, right? You can't give up. You have to keep trying. And some things, I'll tell you, they're going to be hard. Life isn't easy. But I think it's important to know that you having the ability to persevere is really important. So just believe in yourself, and I think that's really important as far as not giving up. Now, so that was from the movie Hercules. Now, this is all over the place, okay? There's no rhyme or reason for these quotes. I just read this book because I'm always looking for some type of positive inspiration or something. That's why I like self-help books, because it always makes me feel good. This one is from Mulan. If you remember from my video last week about movies, Mulan is definitely one of my favorite Disney movies. And the emperor in Mulan says, "The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all." Because sometimes in life, there are things that happen. Like, okay, let's just take the coronavirus pandemic, okay? So when you think about it, most people initially think about all the doctors and nurses and people who work in the hospitals and doctors' offices, etc., as kind of like the most important people. And they're super important, okay? We always want to give them appreciation. But I think of people who sometimes get overlooked that really stepped up their game. Like, think about all the people who work in the grocery store, or people that are still delivering the mail or packages, or you get people like Mrs. D who are making masks for hospitals and other nursing homes, etc. So sometimes you don't know when that might be, but sometimes adversity appears and you are the one that is the so-called flower that blooms, the most beautiful of all. You are the one who really shines in a very tough moment and a tough time, because you could be that person in your house that keeps everybody's spirits up, or maybe normally somebody else is the one that does that, but because of certain events they can't, and you step up. So I like that quote because I think there are those moments in life where it's your time to shine and be the inspiration and be the rock, so to speak, that people need. And you may never know when that day comes, but trust me, when it happens, you will know. Now, this one I've always tried to say, and I know Dr. Copeland and has always kind of stressed this one, but this is from the movie Bambi. And Thumper, if you don't know Thumper, this is Thumper. He's a cute little bunny. This is Thumper from Bambi. It says, "If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all." I think that is some good advice. You always want to try to find the good in what you can say to people, and if you can't, just walk away. And that's hard. Sometimes it can be very hard. You want to say something because you're angry and upset, especially if you're talking about arguments you might have with your siblings or your parents. You don't want to say anything you're going to regret saying, because I've had a friend who a parent had said something to them that was not nice, and this is like maybe 30 years ago or almost 30 years ago, and that person still remembers it. So just be careful of what you say. Words can hurt. Okay, now speaking of how you see yourself and being the the light for people and being the good and saying nice things. This is from an Agrabah salesman who was played by Robin Williams in the movie Aladdin, the cartoon version. So this is him. And he said, "It is not what is outside, but it was what is inside that counts." And I think that's important. Sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you're not happy with what you see, and you think everybody looks at you the same way you look at yourself, which we know isn't true. Um, Sometimes there are some very mean people out there that will judge you based on how you look on the outside, and they could care less what your inside is like. So you have to kind of keep both in mind. You have to know that there are mean people out there, and when they say hurtful things to you based on how you look, just to try your best to ignore it. I know you can't really ignore it completely because it hurts. But on the flip side, if you know you're a good person and you know people care about you and people love you, then don't let those people get under your skin because they're just trying to make themselves feel better by being mean to you guys. Um, so it's just keep that in mind. I think you guys are all great on the inside. Just keep that up. Now, this quote I thought was great. So my wife's favorite Disney movie of all time is The Lion King. So here you have Simba and Mufasa, and he's trying to give him a little bit of a life lesson. And he said, "We are all connected in the great circle of life." And I think if you went back maybe 1,000 years or so, the world really was not truly global. It wasn't really truly connected. But now it is. I mean, the fact that I could pick up my phone and I could dial somebody who lives on the other side of the world and it'll ring instantly, which to me I still feel like is magic. Just like photographs. I feel like it's like crazy wizardry, that it works. But we are all connected. And that's the thing is why we want to be nice to one another because we share a planet. So we want to make sure we don't pollute it, and we want to make sure we take care of our environment, but we also want to make sure we take care of the people around us, because the more we help take care of one another and show support for one another, I think it builds a stronger community, and a stronger community will mean a stronger world, hopefully. So we are all connected, so just remember that. And just like you guys, we'll all be connected forever just based on this crazy year. Now here, this is from the movie Dumbo. You know who Dumbo is? He's an elephant. And it says, "Be yourself." Okay? So you don't want to pretend to be something that you're not, okay? If people are trying to encourage you to not be nice or act a certain way because they think you will fit in better that way, don't do that. Make sure you be yourself. And this one is how the last one I definitely want to leave you on is, this is from the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It says, "Life's not a spectator sport." Meaning, you can't just let your life just watch it go by. You need to live it. Enjoy the moment. I talked about in a previous video that so many people, even myself included sometimes, you're always thinking about what's coming. And when you're doing that, you're not really thinking about the events that are happening at the time, right? So just make sure that you get involved, okay? Because I know when you're young, you feel like time is just endless and you have all the time in the world. But I'm telling you, when you get older, time seems to go by really quickly. Like when I started teaching, it was 2001. So it was 19 years ago, and it doesn't feel like it. It just goes. And, each school year just happens and it ends. It happens and it ends. I mean, sometimes I know it might feel like, oh, this is the longest year of my life. But then when you start to think about it, you're like, wow, that school year went by kind of quickly. So you want to make sure that you get involved and you just, you do things that make you happy. You get outside, you play games and have fun. Just have fun and enjoy your life. Thinking about all these books that I've talked about this week, I think there is a theme, right? The theme is self-improvement. So just like when you're writing a paper, okay, in language arts or social studies, and we give you certain constructive criticism to say, you might want to add this or check it over or proofread or check your spelling or whatever it is. It's so the end result is the best it can be. And I think that's something that you want to consider with your own personal life experiences. It's okay to make mistakes, all right, as long as you learn from them. And I think it's okay sometimes to take risks, as long as they're calculated risks. You don't just jump off like a cliff and say, well, hopefully I'll land appropriately. No, you need to make sure your risks that you're taking are, well thought out. But I also want you to kind of understand that a lot of times people go through life and take for granted the people that surround them because their assumption is they will always be there. But you can't think that way. You have to think like, if somebody's willing to give you their time, because time is precious, then, to take the time, to just hang out with them. And from a parent's perspective, I mean, I can't speak for all parents, but, a lot of times our minds are always thinking about whether it's keeping the house in order or making sure we're paying the bills or doing other things. And a lot of times we don't take the time to enjoy the moments, or we don't take the time to appreciate sometimes the people that are around us because we're just assuming you'll always be there. We sometimes get frustrated, or we feel like we have certain responsibilities. And sometimes even we need to be reminded by you guys that we need to take a break and kind of do things together as a family. And to me, that is the number one thing that I need to work on, because I know I spend a lot of time working, and I know that the work that I do helps provide for my family, gives them a place to live, gives them clothes, gives them food, gives them things that they need. But I also don't want to go through my life working so much that I miss out on certain things, right? So, and I'm telling you this because I want you to enjoy your time as a kid, enjoy those experiences. One, have some empathy towards your parents who might be working really hard, and their intention is not to potentially not hang out with you guys. It's just probably they're thinking about things they need to get done in order that they can provide for you, and sometimes they just need support on your end, right? So as this year is coming to an end, I've definitely been trying to give you as much advice as I can, and I've been telling you a lot about myself, more so than probably I've ever told other students. But I've been thinking about, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I making these videos? And I'm making these videos because I'm trying to hopefully show you guys some comfort, and knowing that somebody is here for you. But I also am making these videos because I want you to know that all the adults in your life who are trying to teach you things, we're trying to make you stronger mentally, we're trying to make you be able to go through life and take whatever challenges come your way, but we're also trying to make sure you understand what it means to have compassion, what it means to have understanding, what does it mean to show love, what does it mean to compliment somebody, what does it mean to even accept a compliment, because some people that's really hard, they feel very uncomfortable. So I've been seeing some of your faces in some of the videos as of late, but I hope that if you have not seen some of the videos in the past, that you go back and watch them. I've even downloaded every video I've ever made, and I'm going to put them in a file so that way my kids will have these later on, in case they need a reminder about certain things. So I'm going to wrap up this. Next week is our last week of school. I can't even believe it, but hopefully I'll have some fun checking videos for next week. I hope you have an amazing day. Get outside, enjoy the sunny weather, because you can hear somebody's cutting their grass. It's one of my favorite sounds. But until our next check-in, I'm thinking about you guys, and I do hope that you take the advice that I've been giving you over these last few months, and all the advice your parents are giving you. Just know that we care, obviously, as adults for you, and we want to make sure we do whatever is best for you to help you thrive in life. So remember, like that quote, life is not a spectator sport, so get out there and live it to the best of your ability, okay? Until our next check-in, peace out.